Oh, hey! I am an awkward FaceTime call with your ex, Graham, and welcome to Film Watch. Spooky edition. Baby! Today we're actually going to cover what I consider as a bit of an underrated horror pick for this year's spooky month of spooky watching spooky things. We're going to get scared up in here, you guys, because we got a good one. Now this time around, we are talking about the 2016 horror thriller and girl boss adjacent religious reading, Hush. I'm not going to do this is a good one, so I'm not going to do the joke. I've not even written anything on here. Crazy. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of Hush, this is a movie in which the main protagonist is deaf and mute, which, by the way, is such a good idea for a horror movie. How has no one done it before? Although I don't think anyone's done it before. They may have, but this is a good one. So I just wanted to talk about it. Now, no film watch could be complete without at least an attempt on the ratings and awards section. So let's get into it, shall we? So this got nominated for a couple of things, but ultimately smaller award shows, because this wasn't like a wide release either, this one. I think this one was more of like a direct movie. It's an hour and 20. It's set in one location. It's a Blumhouse movie. So small budget. You know the drill with these ones. So this got nominated for a couple of things, but ultimately smaller award shows. Like it won Best Direct Horror Release at the iHorror Awards and Best Independent Film at the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards as well. Never heard of it, but it won. So thank God it won something. So the ratings is where it kind of gets me, because this range of scores is totally sleeper hit type shit to look at. We got 67 on Metacritic, respectable. 6.6 on IMDb, which is around, normal for things. It's usually like 6.8 and up is really good. IMDb is a bit crazy. And then on Letterboxd, it has around 3.2 as of recording this, which is, again, it's kind of sleeper. It's just above average. We're okay with it. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, that sounds a bit mid. That's what Big Review wants you to think, okay? The reviews are firm, but not fair. They're not fair, because this is good. I like this one. Have I said it's good enough yet? I don't know. Okay, so now I want to discuss the trivia of this movie, which is really interesting. First of all, this was filmed in 18 days, which for a shoot schedule is insanely small. Usually shoots are about 6 months, at least. Steven Soderbergh movies are usually a bit shorter than that. But it's impressive. 18 days to make this movie, pretty good, I think. Although plausible, because it's set in one location, only has 5 actors. And because of this next piece of trivia, you'll see why probably it only took 18 days. But I'm not like a Blumhouse kind of enjoyer / supporter, but I'm glad that kind of Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel, if I'm saying that right, I'm not sure, they kind of got a tight production schedule on this thing, which is not ideal, but it's impressive. I also love how the IMDb quote section, it looks like Maddie, the main character, who is again deaf and mute, it seems like her best line is like nothing. Which is true. It's true, but it's just funny just to see this ellipsis in the quote section. Another little fun fact about this movie is that there's only 15 minutes of spoken word here at all, which is really interesting. It's kind of fantastic. Although another little bit of trivia, there is this IndieWire article that says that the sign language in it is a bit inconsistent, which we have to notify, we have to let you know, because I'm sure there are ASL people in the audience. So if you're a deaf viewer, please take that into account. We'll lead on from there. Okay, so I wanted to kind of make that section a bit of a quick one because I have a lot to say about this movie. And there's a lot of things that I really like. So I just wanted to talk about them more. So we'll wrap that up real quick, and here we go. Right off the bat, actually, I'll take some coffee. I need some coffee. This is my favorite. It's my favorite mug. So right off the bat, there's no sound whatsoever in the, well, I say title sequence on the script, but it's more of like the production logos. There's no sound, which is, I think, fantastic. Do I have to explain why that's awesome? The girlie's deaf and mute. Wake up. It's in theme, is what I'm saying. We get a little kind of shot of her house and get thrown straight into it again. Fantastic storytelling with these close-up shots of cooking appliances, wine, cutting ingredients, all things that kind of me and you take for granted. The sound design just kind of hits you in the face, showing the kind of symphony of sounds you just get by cooking. Then they just kind of fade away like this. Unbelievable. Amazing. You know, like this happens a few times in the movie where we're kind of brought into, almost dragged into her world, you know, this disability, and then we're brought back in for, you know, just regular filmmaking shit, like actually being able to hear the movie. But yeah, so we get it from the flip side, from her point of view, which is great. I just love it. It's a good little detail. Throughout this movie, there are these little details that really sell me on the character, like this shot of Maddie opening her laptop, and you kind of get the MacBook error sound from clicking on one place too much that isn't the window that you're looking at, like this. So, you know, I wouldn't do that because I obviously hear the first one, or I could maneuver away from it doing that. So it's a good little thing to include. I like it. Oh, also peep the Stephen King novels over here. Huh? Yeah, that's a good little call out. Love that. I also love this kind of use of shaking her cat's bowl to notify the cat that it is dinner time. Again, we'll get back to that, but it's kind of using this sense that she can't use herself. And she's just trusting that it's making, you know, a noise, which is great. You know, it's showing that even with this disability of hers, she still, you know, accommodates all other things that use sensory things that she can't, which I think are great. It's great. Also, this kind of little exchange with her best friend Sarah, who lives next door. It's like a good portrayal of friendship. We see like the scene's less than 5 minutes, but we see that she's attempting to learn sign language. Her husband, John, I think his name is, they're going to classes for it just to make their, you know, both of their lives easier so they can understand her more. She reads her book, gives her honest feedback on it, and then she kind of runs into Maddie's house when the fire alarm goes off, because again, she can't hear it because she's looking away from the house. Only good friends kind of feel like they can come in and help in stuff like that. So it's like it's a nice little intro into what or who this person is. Also, I love these modified fire alarms for the deaf peeps. Huge lights, really, really loud. Sarah comments on it. Again, we'll get back to that. It's a good movie. Oh yeah, and also this bit of information is so insanely important and understated in this moment for story purposes, but it's fantastic. There's been a couple of them so far. It gives you the information you need without being like fully in your face about it. It's not like a Chekhov's gun kind of look at this, we're going to use this later, look at it. It's just kind of, these things have happened because of certain events and we'll talk about them later. It's great. It's just a little thing. Manny then gets a text from Craig. Who's he? Also, we get this insanely close-up shot of Midnight Mass, which is a book by F. Paul Wilson. And fun fact, Mike Flanagan, the guy who directed this movie, he directed the Midnight Mass Netflix adaptation. It's all connecting, guys. It's all connecting. Love these little moments. It just makes movies. It just makes the movie. What am I talking about? So now we have this little section of Maddie trying to write the end of her book, which, by the way, is Midnight Mass. So in this universe, she has written these books, which, again, good connection. Love to see it. If you know the lore, you know the lore. Now, again, this is a good detail because you're kind of getting into her world and how she perceives things. So she starts hearing these voices in her head of possible, you know, interactions between the characters or possible endings, and how she thinks they might sound, but it's all her voice. We do hear about it later in the movie. Just by the way, spoilers. There's a ton of spoilers here. I should have said it earlier. There's tons. But yeah, she kind of, before she became deaf and mute, she was a hearing and speaking person, but a disease that she did get made her the way that she is today. She wasn't born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I had to say it. So yeah, she at least definitely remembers how she used to talk, and I love that. I love it. She then only, what I can call, prank calls Craig a couple of times just because she's a bit anxious. She's an anxious girly. She's got a few feelings, and that's okay. Then Craig calls her. I hate that. Girl, that's me whenever someone FaceTimes me. Like, what? Like, what are you doing? Just call me. I don't want you to see my face at all. Although there is tea. There's tea. So this is where we get a time check and the initial incident. Again, this little scene is brilliant. In a normal horror movie, this would be the start of like a big group effort, right? So she would come to the door. Maddie is cooking dinner right next to her. She'd go, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Get in here." And then suddenly there's two of them and they have to work together. Nah, not in this one. Obviously because of Maddie's disability, it's just harrowing to kind of feel like if you were in the same position as her with this disability, you would not be able to hear what is happening right next to you. And it's just, I hate it. It makes my blood kind of like fucking, Her friend very slowly gets murdered. I might have to blur it. Maddie has no idea. It's horrifying. So the murder happens, and then the murderer is kind of perplexed at why this person didn't hear him, why this person didn't notice. And then again, the pacing's lovely. So another little thing is the killer is a killer, right? He likes working with prey. So he taps on the glass and then he full on knocks hard on it, realizes, and then just fucking fades away a bit. I love it. Like, it just elongates that pressure. Again, the scene shows like the true horror of not being able to be aware of your surroundings, right? This dude just waltzes in and almost murders her. Also, Maddie's just kind of on her laptop like this, you know, like with her friend, while a killer is in her house. Again, harrowing. Just terrifying. What the fuck? Maddie gets a FaceTime call from her friend, but still doesn't know that there's a man in her house because he steps away. Because again, if he just stands behind her and doesn't make a noise, then he's pretty much good, right? If you stand far enough away. And like during that little thing, he steals her phone. Again, dude, what the fuck? A smart killer taken away every bit of communication that this person could want, you know, on her device. Her, with all the accessibility options and everything, it's her device. So Maddie starts looking for her cat. Her cat's not come back yet. Again, don't worry, we'll talk about that later. And she gets back on her computer and, he's in the house, right? Because of these pictures that he sends to her on her iMessage to her laptop through her phone. I love it, man. This is great. Also, this kind of shot of Maddie and her dead friend next to the door is a nice little detail as well. So the killer kind of just reveals himself, which again, it leads to this kind of prey-predator mentality, right? Where he wants to play a game with her. And so he starts just waltzing around the house looking for an open door. Obviously, he moves way too slow to do any actual thing. It's just to scare her because he knows he can just get in. He will overpower her. He's too quick, etc., etc., etc. This is another thing which I really like about this movie. The protagonist is smart. This is a smart person, right? So she instantly tries to call the cops. Instantly. But the power goes off because he shuts the power off. Because, again, he's smart. Why? The pacing here and kind of for the rest of the movie is a bit slower, obviously because of the content, but just kind of keeping that tension up throughout the entire thing. Like, what is she gonna do? Like, how is she gonna do this? How is she gonna overpower this guy? What's gonna happen? And then the killer, obviously being smart, he notices that her car's outside, punctures the tires, gets him out of there. She can't use the car anymore. Boo-hoo. Maddie then kind of like writes on her window with lipstick and tries to reason with him, saying that she won't tell anyone and that her boyfriend's turning up soon. Bitch, lie again. Obviously we know this information it's kind of correct because Sarah told Maddie earlier that John is going to get back in about an hour, so someone is going to come and check on her, and it is going to be this man, so we can wait for that. Oh, this bit of the movie I found so interesting on my first watch because it really truly shows you that this killer kind of knows that he really thinks he's going to win, because he just unmasks himself and shows him to her to make it, not an option for her to be alive. It's spooky. It's so scary, man. Like, I actually, I got goosebumps when this happened the first time. It's wonderful. But yeah, he's kind of given the opportunity to walk away, but he doesn't choose to do that. He chooses to torment her, which again is horrifying. But because he was eavesdropping, again, it's all the details kind of tying everything together. Because he was standing behind her whilst she was talking on the computer to her friend, he knows that she doesn't have a boyfriend, because on that call the friend says, oh, you shouldn't be living out there alone, blah 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 blah. So what's the game plan, right? We gotta be within ourselves, and we gotta think, what am I gonna do, right? So she arms herself instantly. Clever. As I said, clever protagonist. Love it. It's a shame that kind of most of the front of her house is glass. It's a nice house, but it's not great when you have a bunch of fucking glass. She notices, because she's a smart girl, and barricades herself in what I presume is her room upstairs. No, it's not upstairs, it's downstairs. It's on the ground floor. The killer then uses her friend Sarah, which, by the way, she doesn't know she's dead yet, to knock on the glass to say, look, listen, I can get to you. I know where you are, and I'm gonna kill you like this person. Oh, harrowing, dude. So, like I said before, there is information that is given to you earlier, which we get now. This is one of the pieces. So, Sarah, you see her putting her phone in her back pocket earlier. Maddie fucking remembers that, and Sarah's just lying outside on a vent, or like a air conditioning unit. And so she kind of makes a distraction with her car. Now, the thing about using a car alarm for a distraction when you're deaf is that you can't hear it when it stops. And we see that. So the killer tries his hardest to stop it. He stops it, but whilst Maddie is trying to get the phone, you hear it stopping. Obviously, she doesn't know. So she's rooting around, and the killer comes back, and you're like, no, because obviously, we can hear it, she can't hear it. She fucking gets him with this hammer, though, like really gets him. Although the killer kind of thought about this because he's smart. He had the phone. It wasn't even in our pocket. Whoops. Also, this shot is pretty good. I just wanted to highlight that, because it's just all of this information that we're getting, which she is trying to phase out because she just wants to be alone. It's horrible. So now the threat level is completely heightened due to this new information we get of the killer actually showing that he's murdered someone. And not just someone, her best friend. Maddie then tries to make a break for it. She hides under the porch and feels the vibration of the killer walking around on the decking above her. Great detail. Love it. He kind of susses out that she's below him because of her breathing. But obviously she can't really, she does try and suppress it, but too late. So she kind of tries to run, then darts back into the house. So now we've kind of struck out one option, right? She can't run. What is she gonna do? So she tries the next thing, which is getting on the roof, throws a flashlight a hell of a long way. Look, she kind of throws it this far, but then in the next shot, she throws it this far. Kind of crazy, you guys. Let's reel it back. She then tries to escape again after using this as a distraction, but then gets like fucking impaled in the leg by an arrow. Oh. She then, after a little kind of fight, takes the crossbow from him. And again, she's kind of graduated from Final Girl University here. So she kind of expertly patches her wounds. So we're good girls. Don't worry. She ain't bleeding out yet. We then see the killer has scratched his kills into the crossbow. What a fucking asshole. 13 people. What the fuck? Yet again, because she has a disability, it's kind of a bit of her downfall here. She doesn't hear John at the door while she's trying to load this crossbow in the bathroom upstairs, which again, as the audience member, you're like, she is so close. She is so close to being saved. If she just came down right then and there and told him what was going on, he wouldn't be blindsided by this little ruse that the killer has been made. So yeah, the killer kind of tries to make this move that he's a police officer, but he asks too many weird questions and he tries to get the guy's phone away from him. It's a bit too suspicious because he sees the blood. John sees the blood on the killer, and then the killer kind of drops this earring that he took off of Sarah earlier as a little trophy. The facts don't just add up, so he starts asking a lot of questions that kind of lead to his death, which is so horrible because look at this man. This man is hulking. You could have absolutely done something about this killer. Yeah, again, knowing as that there's someone who could possibly help as a viewer, and you're getting this conversation rather than her coming downstairs and being like, look, that guy tried to kill me, is the worst thing in the world, man. Maddie actually eventually does come down, and she essentially kills John right here. Because it distracts him for long enough for the killer to just stab him in the neck where the good old big vein is. So he starts just bleeding out then and there. John tries his absolute God bless this man, by the way. He tries his absolute hardest as he's dying to get him away from her. Holy shit. And you know what Barbie says about these kind of guys? Damn straight. You're a piece of shit. This bit's great. Again. We then see her going through the possibility of running in her head. It's kind of like a little, oh, you think she's doing it, she gets killed, and then it's in her mind, which is a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying, but it's interesting when you really think about it. But yeah, after this kind of dream sequence that lasts like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, we again get the voices in her head, kind of, but they're actually personified by her sitting in front of herself, talking to herself, which again, so compelling. I love it. She's thinking through like the possibilities. She is a horror novelist after all, so this kind of makes sense where she's trying to think of the best ending. It ties into everything earlier. She can't run, she can't hide, she can't wait because the guy will get in. Just like her book, there are too many endings. Genius. Love it. Although I can't help but see this photo of Beyonce when she's talking to herself. It's almost like ultimately, I'm gonna let you guess because I've done it before. I like it. I'm gonna let you guess what the kind of thing she decides to do is. I'll give you 5 seconds. Yes, that's right. She ultimately decides that she needs to attack this person. The one thing he doesn't expect. This is another reason why I love this movie so much. It's the prey becomes the predator in her environment. So she can use the things that make her home accessible to her against the enemy. It's great. I love it. The killer kind of then just talks to John's dead body like a psycho while he's smoking a cigarette. Also, he like fully tries to kill this cat. And again, asshole behavior. It's just a cat. You creep. So she actually loads the crossbow and then she shoots him, getting him in the arm a bit. And then, oh, it's so horrible. She gets her like arm stuck in the door with her wrist out and he just fucking tramples on it. Oh, blur that. Jesus fucking Christ, blur that. After that, she gets all fucking mean with him with her mangled arm. And she writes on the window, by the way, with her own blood, "Do it." Oh, goading him to come in and kill her, which again is such a girl boss move. I love that. That's real fucking Britney-esque. And then right afterwards, below it, she calls him a fucking coward. Oh, it's great. It's so good. She then kind of realizes that she has no other option because of her injuries, but to fight until she dies trying to kill this guy, which is again like coming to that conclusion in her head is another, like, it's so grounded that it's harrowing to think about that. Like, if you're in that situation, if you've gone through all of these things, at some point you're just gonna have to accept that you will have to die if you don't do well enough. It's so she kind of goads him on, and then he starts trying to break in, but as he's doing that, she types down what he looks like in her script notes, which is again, great move, smart move, love it. She then kind of sets up in the bathroom and waits for him to fully get in and get her. By the way, this is a bathroom with a bath in it, kind of against a wall. How does he get behind her? That's one thing. How does he get behind her? No idea. They don't really show it. They just, you're in her perspective and then suddenly he's behind her. No idea. That's the one thing in this movie. This is stupid. But yeah, again, he's behind her. She's fully focused on the door in front of her and like a bit on the window to her right and doesn't notice. Again, this is her disability really, making things a lot harder for her, which is terrible. But because all of her other senses are heightened, because of that, she feels the killer's breath on her neck, illustrated by this shot. I love that, man. That's great. That's so good, because in this instance, as the audience, you're going, fucking Jesus Christ, what? No. So she fucking gets him. She stabs him right in the leg. Does she stab him right in the neck? She stabs him somewhere. She stabs him. So she stumbles back into the living room, and you see that she's lost a lot of blood at this point, and she's fading fast. But what does she do? She doesn't try to run, because she knows that if she tries to run and this guy's going after her, she's not going to make it. So she instantly goes to arm herself again. Again, dude, smart. It's just smart shit. But she just can't do it because she's so fucked up. So instead, she kind of lays on the ground waiting for him to come over. And she fully gets him in the eyes with this wasp killer that, again, we see earlier. We see this wasp killer earlier, and we know exactly where it is, and she uses it. Great move, again. And then this is kind of where the predator turns prey mentality comes in, because she starts using all of these accessible things within her own environment to battle him. She turns on the insanely loud fire alarm to distract him. So she's like combating him. He's fucking covering his ears, and she's really trying to go at him. As we see again, she's slowly kind of fading away, and we get little snippets of loved ones and, her as a kid and her friends and stuff like that, which again, like, you're so tied to this character that you're like, oh fuck, like, this is it, like, flashing before, your life flashing before your eyes. This is the end. But as she is slowly fading, she fucking murders him, which is the fucking best, dude. Oh my god. It's the best. It's the best. It's so good. Oh. And you know what William Shakespeare said? Wig. Maddie then, again, just so smart, attempts to call 911. Because usually in a movie like this, she would just like fade away and someone would come and help her. But this is a situation where there's no one gonna come and help you. So you need to figure it out up here. So she calls 911. She walks out of her house and hangs out with her silly ass cat that just turns up at the last minute. Screw you. You could have at least, like, I don't know, scratched him or something. I don't know. But that's the end of the movie. Oh, it's great. It's great. If you just please give it a watch. So that was Hush. I gotta say that this movie is a really well done concept piece. There's no huge overarching storyline. It's very grounded. It's very quick. It kind of all takes place during the same night in the same maybe like 2 hours. It's wonderful. You know, what if the pursued was hearing impaired? It's great. What it sets out to be, it's extremely good. Other than the IndieWire article about ASL stuff, I think that it's just a great horror movie. It's only about an hour and 20 minutes long. It's easy to follow, digestible, and just something new, at least for me, that I feel a lot of people haven't really seen yet. And because of all that, I'll give it 4 awkward FaceTime convos with your ex out of 5. Please do watch this with some friends if you can, and enjoy the spooky season, you guys. Again, I'm not going to say it. It's down there, whatever. Just make sure that you don't live in the middle of the woods by yourself. Okay, bye!